So in 2007, I originally I was just out of college and everything, thought, I hear a little bit about getting your skin looked at by a dermatologist. I had several moles. I had a history of laying in a tanning bed. I grew up on a farm mowing. I played sports outdoors all summer long. I had recommended to the dermatologist there was a spot on my calf that whenever I crossed my legs, I just noticed this mole that's a little different. They said, well, we'll take them off, or that one off, and test it and see, and that one came back as melanoma. Fast forward to 2012, November, I've reached my 5-year mark. So when you have a melanoma diagnosis, reaching 5 years is kind of a big thing. November and December time frame there, it was about 5 weeks, a new bump had grown on my upper ear right in here, and it was just skin colored. It wasn't anything different, it was just a bump. And about 2.5 weeks later, they called me and said, it's a melanoma. So I did a whole bunch of research and found out that there was a new thing out there. It was called GM-CSF, which is immunotherapy. And in 2013, immunotherapy was not heard of really yet for melanoma. So I said, let's try it. So for 2 weeks, I would give myself an injection every day, and then I would have 2 weeks off. And then the next 2 weeks I would do it. So it was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off of this for an entire year. I did. So I started that in May of that same year. In June, I had a dermatologist appointment, and they found melanoma number 3 on my back. So in August, I had the wide resection of that melanoma done. And then from there, I followed up every 3 months with my dermatologist and my oncologist. We did PET scans and CT scans to make sure that nothing else had spread. 2014, I finished up my GM-CSF, and everything looked good. We did a PET scan. I had no metastasis anywhere. Last year, 2016, I went to the dermatologist, had 2 moles that looked different than the other moles around it. Nothing else really made them jump out, and those came back as melanoma. So melanoma number 4 and number 5. And scheduled surgery, had a wide resection done on my back, and one of those melanomas was on the exact same ear, just a different spot. So they took another chunk out of that, which was cartilage this time, and they had to take a skin graft from my neck. So I've had 5 melanomas, all independent of each other. Started at the age of 26, I'm 36 now, so within 10 years, and over the course of all that, every 3 months I've seen the dermatologist. So if you roughly calculate the amount of moles I had taken off to be biopsied, I've had probably right around 140 or over, give or take a few. And tanning beds were something around our small town that when it was prom season, you bought your package of 10 and you used those 10 before, and I went to prom for 5 years. So it was 5 years of me using a tanning bed, and I have no hereditary factors whatsoever for mine. I have no family member that's ever had any type of skin cancer diagnosed, basically. But I do have over 50 moles on my body. I have the high exposure of ultraviolet light, whether it be natural sunlight or tanning bed use, and I guess just exposure as a young adult and kid. Sunscreen was just something that was there in case you needed it, but we didn't use it all the time. I use my story, and I actually go around and talk to high school students and even kids that are younger about sun safety. The biggest thing with melanoma is highly treatable, and your survival rate is super high if you can catch it in its early stages. In our small town, you could ask anybody if they've went to the dermatologist in the last couple of years, and they'll say yes. When I speak or post on social media about this, there are still a lot of adults that come back with, well, people look better tan, or my daughter's just doing this for prom. Well, they don't get that, that age group of 20 to 24, this is the #1 diagnosed cancer for young people, and so use sunscreen. Don't let your kids do a tanning bed. Look at me and know that it's not an old people thing. I mean, I've had 5. I just want to get those things out of people's heads that it's okay to do that and know that there are big dangers.